this time. And Lord, I pray that you would help us this evening in decisions that are before us. God, may you lead, guide, and direct us. God, I pray, Lord, tonight that you would be with our nation. God, touch our leaders. And God, help us all, Lord, to stay together. We're in this together as one cause, one people. Lord, we love you tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the minutes of the May 12th, 2020 regular meetings. Anybody have any modifications or comments on the minutes?
I have none.
None.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Four.
Four.
Lenore, do we have any public comments? Okay. Informational agenda, financial report. Coming towards the end of the year, probably more things in the air this year than any other time because of the COVID situation. A lot of the flow-through funds for grants and other things are not coming in because we're not being able to do the activities that we were required to do to get the money. So there is a lot of analysis being done. We do feel we're in very good shape financially. Of course, while personnel costs did not change dramatically with the shutdowns, a lot of other spending did. A lot of supply spending, those type of things, fuel for buses. So financially, we will end the year, we think, in good shape and are addressing certain things to handle that correctly. That's about the only comments I have, unless there is something else. Okay, we put together task forces at the last meeting, and I know each one of those has held a meeting so far, and again, it's very much a transition as the governor now has let us go into phase 2. The first task force, if we could hear from, is Student Staff Health and Sanitation Committee.
Thank you, Ms. Shepard. We did meet last week. The governor did speak today. He released some information on how we proceed in reopening schools. There'll be models that will be sent to us that if this task team meets back, we'll be able to do some more work. Each of you guys, except Mr. Shepard, were on the committee. Feel free to jump in there and speak as I go over each one of these. I'm really pleased with the way the committees were set up. They formulated plans for several different scenarios for return to school. And I think now the information came out today, they'll have even more leeway on how to do that. But the first one was the sanitation committee. The sanitation committee, to refresh you, is Mary Ellen Funk, Kathy Muncie, Dwayne Bailey, Tyler Eastep, Radonna Freeman, Julie Pruitt, and Lenore Parker. And to sum up their meeting, the committee discussed what supplies will be needed to move forward. Some of the supplies that are needed are bleach, gloves, masks, Clorox wipes, hand sanitizers, and no-touch thermometers. It was suggested that some elementary teachers and aides may benefit from using face shields due to concerns that smaller children may be scared if the teacher's faces is covered. So the clear shields, and that's a good reason to have our frontline soldiers on these committees. They come up with the things we would never think of. The committee recommends using misters with bleach and water to sanitize the buses twice a day. I've had a lot of vendors that send their wares to me about sanitizing buses, but Ms. Freeman was there, who's a bus driver, and she said that she felt like doing it once a week wasn't enough, but when the kids get on it and contaminate the bus again. So she feels more comfortable with the bleach and water.
Yep, and we talked about having one central place to actually do the mixing. That way we can kind of control that. Maybe Mike or somebody at the bus garage can actually do the mixing. And then we can purchase sprayers, just the normal garden sprayers, and they can keep those on their buses. And then once the driver's done, Rodonna mentioned that, she could do it, but if somebody takes a bus home, she can't do it in those evenings and stuff. So that way the bus driver can just run through, real quick for 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, just to spray things down. So we thought that was probably the best idea there.
Committee suggested that have only one entrance for students to enter schools, so temperatures can be checked and reports can be made. A possible second entrance to utilize for staff health checks was discussed. The nurses feel help will be needed to meet the demands of health checks and sanitation. Additional staff may be needed for health checks on buses. The committee would like the board to approve $10,000 for needed supplies. Currently, Ms. Parker has ordered 4,000 gloves, some disposable masks, 5 no-touch thermometers, and are obtaining quotes on 3 layers of cloth masks.
And we did that during the meeting. We were looking for some things just while we were having the meeting, and she found some things that we could get real quick. And as far as the thermometers, I said, was it $200 for 5? Lenore, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So I thought nothing else. The nurses could have them. We'd have ones in the office. Even if it's not something that's going to be required for the bus drivers or whatever. It's not going to hurt to have a couple. So we went ahead and picked up the 5, and then we can get more. It seemed like they were pretty readily available. I think there's some sources that we can pick them up from. So,
Do we need to give each of these task forces a certain amount of money that they can do this kind of actions
I
with?
think we're going to have to. A lot of it's still unknown when you get down to talking about student and staff needs.
yeah.
And we won't know until all this starts to unfold. We have to do a health plan that the state has to take a look at, VDH has to take a look at. We have to do an instructional plan. All these plans have to be submitted to the state in a timely fashion. Health plan, I think, has to be submitted, and don't quote me on this, but I think 15 days prior to us opening. So.
Yeah, and I think we need to wait. There's going to be changes. There has to be changes in between now. Probably, by the end of this month, there's going to be changes. So we didn't really do a lot of planning, other than saying, there's some things we know we're going to need. We got some gloves. We know we can use gloves even if we don't need them when we go back to school. So there's some things that we knew that we wanted to get. There's going to be some things that's going to be tough to find. Wipes, those are going to be near to impossible. Clorox is something that's pretty. Bleach is something I think right now is pretty tough to find. So we know on our side we didn't talk a lot about policies and things we need to do because we know that's going to change. So
I think that's something to be considered in the future. Our technology committee met, and on that committee was Joe Marzoff, Angel Lethbridge, Deborah Blessing, Philip Butler, Josh May, and Denise Tate. Some minutes from that, and a lot of this came from Denise because that was one of those days I had the state superintendent's conference and this meeting too, so I was back and forth a lot. Internet access for students was a big concern. Need to look at how to get the access to students. 7th and 9th grade email opening. This may have helped with communication with students at the high school level. Better communication with parents. Elementary has Dojo. High school would like to have some kind of software, perhaps Remind, to communicate with both parents and students along with opening email for high school students. Chromebooks will be available for all students, kindergarten through 12th grade next year. Need to provide professional development to both teachers and parents and guardians. And I think that's important because parents really need some professional development too. Using technology available to students, using Google Classroom, Virtual Virginia, on the platform that will be used for virtual learning, how to use Google Classroom without internet, download to Drive, Flash Drive, etc. Provide tutorials to students to download to Google Drive on using email, Google Classroom, Virtual Virginia, YouTube, Zoom, Google Meets, etc. Provide teachers with capabilities of recording or live viewing of teaching a lesson, recording all lessons in Google Classrooms for teacher and student use. Google Meets is available until September 30th of 2020. After this date, the basic package is available for use. Internet from home. I think Denise has worked with Dr. Workman on setting up some more hotspots throughout the county. She will let us know. You'll find that out in the next meeting. Provide information on a constant basis on where internet is available and how to get classroom and homework to families, information that is important for student success. Denise also has asked me to introduce to you guys a concept that she feels that will help with all the paperwork that is required for our students to fill out in the beginning of school. This paperwork can be done through PowerSchool, and she's really excited about that. There is a cost that goes with it. It's a one-time cost of $8,000 to get into this software. Then after that, it's a $3,500 annual fee. But this, if you remember, when we had to close schools, we hadn't had kindergarten registration yet. And Laura developed a plan to send that out electronically to get kids to be registered. So I'll pass this around and take a look at it. Please consider it. Like I said, Denise is very excited about it.
And
I think
she,
it's important, the comments you made about the parents. I mean, especially when we're expecting a lot of the K through 3 children, the parents have to be up to speed on this. And if we need to do some tutorials online or in person, I think we need to do that. Do we have a technical problem? Okay, anything else? Okay.
one of the other things, we talked about internet access being a crucial point in this. But one of the things, even as we return to school, is kids continuing to use Chromebooks in a fashion that is almost synchronous between home learning and school learning. And really one of the big differences is pretty much just your environment and having the teacher physically in front of you in that setting. So the parent tutorials, I think we're looking to post those on our school website, and that way parents can learn. I mean, technology changes. There's updates, seems like every couple months to Microsoft, and you gotta figure out what's new. So the same thing goes with these other programs as well. And I think we also talked about aligning a lot of our teaching and our grade level uses of these same programs, such as Classroom Dojo and Remind and Google Classroom, just so that everybody's on the same page, bringing a uniform front across the technology platform.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other comments about technology task force committee?
Also, I believe in the CARES Act, which I know some of that money that our county will be receiving, some of that CARES Act money can help us with some of our technological, as well as I know a lot of these other needs. But just to know that we can use some of that money toward technology, and particularly this PowerSchool, if hopefully we'll have some funding to do that.
The last task force committee, and I can see in the next few weeks when we meet again is having some subcommittees come off of these 3 major committees that we have now. That was student staff needs. Kelly Sarber was a part of that. Laura, Pamela Lambert, Kara Weichel, Sharon Puckett, and Stephanie James will be back at the next meeting. Basically, the things that were discussed there, and Sharon was a part of that too, and she could chip in. we need to figure out how we're gonna make up for lost instructional time. We're very concerned about our K-3 students who've lost 9 weeks of instruction. We're gonna figure out how to test and find out exactly where they are and what they have missed. Because we feel like if we don't back up and try to remediate some of these younger kids, that they won't learn how to read. So we want to make sure we implement that in part of our instructional plan that we send to the state. That's gonna be hard to do, but I think it's vital that we take a look at that. We talked about staggered schedules for the new reopening. And I'm telling you, after you start talking to these teachers, and like I call them, I love to call them our frontline soldiers, they bring about a lot of concerns of how this is going to get done, especially with social distancing in our classrooms. How are we going to reach our children? How are we going to do a hybrid? How are we going to do a combined schedule of virtual plus classroom one-on-one instruction? So we have a lot of work to do in that area. And hopefully the models that the state give us will help us to set up something that'll fit Southwest Virginia and rural school systems in Southwest Virginia. Also the topic of equitable instruction. How do we provide equitable instruction if all our kids, I have no total, Denise might have a total, but I would say probably a third, maybe more of our students do not have internet access in Bland County. So we've got to figure out a way to make all the instruction as equitable as we can for all our kids, and that will be another concern. And of course, teacher schedules. Then the other one was nutritional plans. If we have to have social distancing in our cafeterias, which we're going to have to, how are we going to get all our kids fed? Do we take them to the meals to the classrooms? Do we look at alternative places like gymnasiums? How do we get our kids fed? And that's going to be another tough issue for Kelly and her staff, is how we get this done. But the more they talk, the more questions they had. And Sharon, you can chip in. You know exactly where I'm coming from. This will be an interesting committee, because this committee will have to come up with and help me provide an instructional plan that our state will accept. And so we need to get back together as soon as possible. And I think the state superintendent will send out his models and his plans this evening.
All right. They were talking about, like you were talking about lunches or breakfast or whatever. Do they go to homeroom? Because everybody won't be able to go to the gym or the cafeteria, you know, like they usually did if we do the social distancing, and they go to homeroom and eat their breakfast, you know. If we go Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, so there will only be 10 kids in each classroom or whatever, you know. And it was really hard. And the kids only get like half their
It's
teaching.
the other part that kind of crosses over with the student, staff, health, and school sanitation committee was transportation. That is going to be an enormous job as well, because of the social distancing requirements for buses, and that could affect our budget tremendously. And we didn't budget for these kind of extra costs. So CARES Act will help somewhat, but we didn't get a lot of money in CARES Act.
Do we know if they're going to do different levels of opening schools for different areas, like our area with the limited number of cases? Because I think it was Georgia we talked about in the last meeting.
Georgia has a really good plan. Right now, it depends on the governor's phases, I think. And so if we go into phase 3 or we're still in phase 2, we can start on the expected date that we have on our calendar. But whatever phase we're in will dictate how we reopen schools.
Okay, so we're still
But
waiting.
with each phase, from what I've understand, and I haven't read it, what he sent out this evening, you'll still have social distancing to deal with. Athletics is another thing. He talked briefly on that today. I think they can begin athletics, but also with athletics will be social distancing and no gatherings of more than 50 people. So
Yeah, they said it
When
would be
should
good.
we evaluate whether our school calendar should be changed?
I think after the next task force meeting. I think we need to look and see what the governor sent to us, not the governor, excuse me, the state superintendent, and then see what our committees have recommended. And if you look at some of the higher ed has decided to start earlier.
Yeah, Radford University, I think, was starting earlier and was gonna finish up by Thanksgiving and be done until after the first of the year. I think that's what they were doing.
Yes. But Virginia Tech was going, and in essence, what they're going to do is start a little bit later in August, and then they're going to go through Thanksgiving, and then pretty much everything in between Thanksgiving and Christmas is going to be online, and that's how they're going to finish out that first semester.
Is the concern the normal flu season that this would recur?
I don't know.
I think so. Here's you something to think about. One of our shuttle buses that comes up here to the high school has nearly 40-some kids on it. If we can't put but 10 kids on the shuttle bus at a time, that means 4 trips.
We don't have the buses to do.
So just.
That's the thing, I mean, if you split the day, we spend in the range of $600,000 a year on transportation. If you double the number of bus routes, it won't double that, but it might go up by $300,000-$400,000.
Yeah.
Easily.
But I can tell you this too, though, there's a term that I like that the Superintendent Lane used, it's called variances. And in our county, we've been lucky to not have any cases. And I'm with you 100% when you say, why should we have the same requirements or restrictions as a system that has many cases?
I could see where we would have, we would want practices in place, but I don't see where we would have the same. There's no way you can put the same restrictions on us that you would put in Northern Virginia, Richmond, something like that. What the other thing? What about as far as bus drivers, the age as far as 65 years and older? I mean, we have several, I guess, bus drivers that are over 65.
I mean, I think that's a recommendation. I can't see where they could enforce that.
All right.
That's age discrimination.
No, I know. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You have to look for.
I think
the
it was a
superintendent.
recommendation that you're at higher risk if
Right.
you're above that age, and you have to think about your own personal health. But as far as us enforcing that, I don't see how we could do that under age
No.
discrimination.
Is there concern about us going like to the vocational school to Tazewell County every day, twice?
Well, I hadn't even thought of that, but I can rest assured that we have a great team here, and we will come up with a plan that will work for Bland County. So you guys won't have to worry about it. You will receive the plan and you'll look at it, and the things that Sharon's bringing up and Philip and Dwayne, they'll be thrashed around until we come up with a plan that works for us. And in the meantime, we work with the state superintendent's office to see if we can get any of these variances.
Okay. Scott, do you have any other updates?
Yes, sir. Of course, the COVID updates, I think you know those. We're in phase 2 now. I think that we had less cases today than we did the day before in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth, so the data there is looking good. Good news, 48 kids in kindergarten.
Cool.
That's what she has up today, 48. We haven't had that many in, what, 3 or 4 years? So that's good news.
There'd probably be more. We always get a few stragglers in before.
You have to wonder if they do if they have a system in place where the least, if you have no cases, you're more open. You have to wonder if we would pick some up from even different counties. Then what do we do there? Do we limit the number of we have some that
Well, it's
come
always
from out
been
of
in
county.
place that we have the
First
final
right.
right to accept
Okay.
or
Right or
deny.
refusal.
So, if it comes to a situation where you're gonna have to hire an extra teacher because you passed the threshold,
Right.
then we would have to say, no, we couldn't accept that person.
But what about also if we have students that want to come in, say, from an area that has had a greater outbreak than what we have experienced as well? Do you feel like that we should take that into consideration as well at that point?
I think we should look at that, yes.
Okay. It's just all things to think about. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Press box steps have been put in I'm bartered with Eric about getting the guttering done, and we'll have the baseball field and softball field completed.
Good.
It's been a long time coming, but it's a nice facility now.
Yes.
Surplus buses, Mike told me that he worked out a deal with Sonny Merriman, that they're gonna give us $1,000 apiece for 4 buses that's seen its better days. And they're coming up, I think, tomorrow to pick those up. Hopefully we'll get our new bus tomorrow as well. So that's where we are with the surplus buses. And that's basically what I have right now. Any questions you have of me?
Okay, school board members, Bill?
This evening, I'd like to just share with everybody, we appreciate you, all you parents that's out there being very long suffering with the school board and administration. We realize that there's a lot of factors and things that we want to know. But this evening, I would just like to share with you, don't rush to judgment on us. There's a lot of things that we don't know, that we're just finding out. And even as a school system as great as Mr. Mead is, and our principals and staff, with that, let's just give us all a little bit of patience here as we find our way in this time to educate our students. We love your students. We love our county, and we want to do the very best job that we possibly can to educate them and to bring them up. And so with that, I just share with you that we're here and for the common good.
Right.
Sharon?
We just want to do what's best for our kids and their teachers and everybody, and keep everybody safe and healthy. So just bear with us, like Philip said.
Dwayne?
Repeat what they say, ditto, and thanks to Mr. Marzoff and Ms. Leftwich for your
Yes.
time,
Right.
giving your time being here today. Those are the behind-the-scenes folks, and we appreciate y'all being here. So
That's right.
thanks so much for getting us online. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, the schools are a critical element of Bland County, and we want to make sure that parents are comfortable sending their children to school, and that the advantages of a public education over a homeschooled education continue on and become even more apparent. So we're, in many ways, we're looking forward to getting this new year started, although we're not quite sure what it's going to look at this time. Okay, next.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I failed to give Ms. Sarver's report, and if I don't do that, she'll be standing in my office in the morning. So, and she does a great job for us, but she just wanted to let everybody know that the feeding program came to an end, and it was a rewarding experience, and it was for me too. I was out there got to meet great parents, great kids, and I think they appreciated me coming out there with them. So we serviced 205 kids and gave out a total of 19,038 meals during the closure from March 18th through May 29th. And she'd like to thank everybody that helped with either packing or delivering the food bags to kids. We couldn't have done it without you. The pandemic EBT updates cards are continuing to be mailed out for those children that were enrolled in Bland County schools from the 2019-2020 school year that were directly certified, free and reduced, and those that were income-based, free and reduced. If you've already received a SNAP benefit EBT card, the money will automatically be deposited to your existing card. If you do not already receive SNAP benefits, you will receive a PEBT card in the mail. So check your mail closely. Centralization of the cafeterias is ready to begin on July 1. I'd like to personally thank the folks from Giles that's helped Kelly set this up, and she couldn't have done it without them. Working on lots of changes for school nutrition for the reopening of schools, and we went over that with the task force committees, but thank God I remembered to give this.
I think she could take you too.
Yeah, I wish you would.
We didn't say Lenore. She's in behind the scenes too, so we appreciate
That's
her
right.
being here.
Right. Okay, moving on to the action agenda. The first item is approval of the monthly payments. Anybody have any questions or concerns?
None.
Could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the payments.
Second.
4.
4.
4.
4. Next item is the Virginia School Board Association resolution condemning racism. And I'll read the final paragraph. It says, "We members of the Bland County School Board stand steadfast in our commitment to foster an inclusive educational environment where every student, teacher, support professional, parent, and community member is treated with dignity and respect, as well as our commitment to continue fighting for racial justice and human and civil rights for all." Need a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
I'll second.
4.
4.
4.
4. And the signed copy I'll give to Mr. Mead. Okay, O&M projects, trying to get things done while we have the opportunity. The elementary roof units are complete. The roof on the concession building at the football field is complete. The roof on the shingle part of Building B, the actual roof is complete except for the cleanup, and the gutters have not yet been installed. That's where we stand on the O&M projects. Right now, we have commitments that have not been paid of about $29,000. So far this year, we've paid $395,000 in capital projects for the buildings.
As far as the to-do list, the wish list from the principals for summer projects and for things, I know with everything the way it closed out with leaving in March and everything, were they ever able to put something like that together so we could get the maintenance and say
There's still a lot of work orders that's in there.
that needs to be done?
Mhm.
Okay, so
One thing we probably need a motion for, the Building B roof was bid out. We went with the low bidder, but in order to get the work moving forward, there was a call. Everyone was asked if they were okay with going ahead, but it has not been approved in a formal meeting, to my knowledge.
Hilton B?
Sorry,
Hilton B roof?
yes.
You approved it last time with the stipulation that the offer was firm.
Okay,
It was in.
yeah.
okay. So you're comfortable with how it was approved last time? Okay. Good, that takes care of that then. In light of everything that's going on, we know that we are going to need assistance for the nursing staff, both schools, but especially at the elementary school, because young children, when they come in and it's identified they have a temperature, they have to be isolated and looked after. So a pay scale has been put together for what's currently termed as nurse assistant, but the title may change. That's still being debated. With that, need a motion to approve that pay scale.
Make the motion to approve the pay scale.
I'll second that.
Mr. Crabtree?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Piper?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
For sanitation supplies, was this the $10,000
Yeah.
that was?
We thought it would be a good idea just to give an approval for $10,000, just so that they can, without having to ask for the approval, go ahead and give them $10,000 to start stockpiling some products as we can find them.
Yeah, I think especially as hard as items are to get, it's a wise move.
If you
So
find
could
them.
I have a motion to allocate $10,000 for sanitation supplies?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Crabtree?
4.
Ms. Piper?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
For curriculum for the Mountain Home Center. Scott, do you want to cover this one?
I'm really excited about offering new programs for our kids, and in fact, you've got 2 people in the back here that's been very active with all the technology and the things that they do and provide kids and the different pieces that they put together, the photo journalism, the yearbook, the local history. So this is another elective, and I think we've got to do more, or I would go on and say a better job of offering more electives to
Right.
our kids.
I think we need more.
And I commend Angel, Joel, and Ms. Whiteley, right? They're the ones that come up with this curriculum, and I think it's a good job, and I think we ought to approve this new class.
Now, is there more than one class here?
There's like three or four on here.
Okay.
Or is this one specific class then it broke up into four?
It says there's four
There's
different
local
class
history,
titles.
technology, local history, WGAP, creative writing, digital media production, and photojournalism.
Okay.
3 are already
Okay,
offered.
so one of them's a new one. Which one was the photojournalism is the new one? Creative writing, okay. Okay, so we're just adding the one, okay, cool. And digital media production, yeah.
Okay, what exactly are we approving in this, so I understand?
From what you're approving the creative writing and digital media production.
To be added
Okay.
to the
That's what
master
we had
schedule.
talked about would be such a good elective for our children. And we also are getting ready to build the media production center in the bottom of the Mountain Home Center. That's been approved, so it's just an expansion on that. It gives our kids that's really into this sort of thing, a class to take.
So we're just approving, adding of the curriculum, right?
You're adding this class to the other
To the
three.
master's
Okay,
schedule.
so I'll make the motion to approve this.
I'll second it.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
For. At the elementary school, we have a parking problem. Really, we have two key problems. One is when we have an event there, room for people to park that are attending the event. And the other one, which at times is much more serious, is when parents are dropping their students off and picking their students up. There is a parking lot across the road which needs to be developed, but in order for us to have more flexibility in developing that parking lot, there is a piece of land that is 45 by 145 that blocks us from the adjoining road. The individual that owns that land has agreed to sell us that land for $10,000. And my recommendation is that we purchase that piece of land. It gives us a lot of flexibility, and hopefully it can resolve some of our parking and traffic issues. So I need a motion to buy that small piece of land.
I'll make the motion to purchase the land.
I'll second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
For. Next one is the land option analysis. We currently have an option on 2 pieces of land. When we were looking ahead to try and figure out the best path forward for facilities for Bland County, the coronavirus has kind of put everything up in the air as to what kind of facility we would have if we were to build a facility, and what size facility, and all of those things. But we can't just stop while all this gets worked out. So we need to move forward with analyzing the land options. And I'm not sure, I guess we can take a couple of things. We can put a maximum dollar right now, or we can just ask Mr. Mead to get with Dr. Workman and get back to us, whatever your preference.
Yeah, I think
Ladder.
if Scott can get with Eric, I think that's probably the best right now. So we just kind of table
So
this for
we'll
now.
table that
If you
one
don't
for right now. Okay, graduation. That's been on everybody's mind. We set a date hoping that things would free up as much as possible. They have freed up to some extent, which gives us some flexibility. Graduation, just so everybody understands, the role of the school board in graduation is we pick the date and the time. Graduation has always been decided upon by the students and their sponsors as to how they want to do it. And we'd like to continue that process this year. But we do want a graduation where diplomas can be handed out. And parents, following the various guidelines that we have in the state, can be there when their child gets their diploma. With that in mind, Scott, would you like to
Yes,
give us some details here?
Last Wednesday, I called for a meeting with the administration here at the high school because I felt like our parents and students needed somewhat of a ceremony for graduation. Dr. Hopkins was supposed to be here to present this, but she gave it this plan to me to review it with you guys this evening. The ceremony for the 19th will be held here at location at Bland County High School. I'll give a speech and declare the graduates. We'll pass out diplomas. That might be an issue because she told me that the diplomas have been late from the company that I think Jostens, I can't remember who they
No,
used.
it was
Balfour.
Balfour.
Okay, Balfour has been closed for like 3 months.
Right.
Um,
And they're at 25% reduction on the force that they have right now, so that's working, so they're way behind.
So we hope to set up in front of the school under canopy. Parents and guardians, I think we decided to allow 2 cars per parent to come in, to as full as they can get, to come in to see the graduation. And you gotta understand, we still have to operate under the 50 and social distancing and that kind of things, but with our graduates, I think we can social distance them in seats out here 6 feet apart from one another, which I think that would be nice. We'll work with Sheriff Ramsey and Deputy Dowdy to help us with the parking and security and those kind of things. We're testing the speakers and Wi-Fi connections to make sure we have that. I think Dr. Hopkins says the parents have planned a senior picnic for June 19th from 10:30 to 3:30 at Glenwood Park. Senior funds support this event. And she went on to say, to the date, the class has received a senior class CD, $200 donated, poster size class picture, senior banners, virtual graduation, yard signs, etc. So I hope to make this as nice as we can, considering the dilemma that we're in with graduation this year. I love our kids, and I hate the fact that they're not having a traditional ceremony, but at least we're trying to give them something, and I hope that it works out fine. Any questions on that? Any comments?
We wish the best to our graduating class 2020.
If I can do anything to help, just let me know.
Okay, everybody comfortable with that?
Yep.
I know there's been a video put together that's been very professionally done, and it's quite touching. VSBA Policy B, Lenore, would you like to make any comments on that? We've all seen your notes and read through it. You wanted to modify one part, you said, from what was...
I included the modified part in there. We just added, we kept our current committees and added them to the new policy.
Okay.
It's
Let me
BCF.
let me add something. This is something that's been needed in our school board offices to update these policies for some time now. I take my hat off to Ms. Parker. She's worked hard and diligently and gone through many, many pages of policy changes. So she has worked really hard during this time that we haven't been in school. So thank you, Ms. Parker.
You don't have a hat on.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, need a motion to approve the policies?
I'll make a motion to approve the new VSBA policy B.
I'll second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Frederick?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Next item is the 2020-2021 budget. We know that this budget will be a work in process as the year goes on because we get our funding from a large number of sources, and we know a lot of those sources are being impacted by the various shutdowns related to the virus. Things such as sales tax will be changed, lottery funds, a lot of grants, those type of things, and also just the general funding from the state as the taxes are reduced for the state. We're in a situation, as a lot of rural areas are, that our enrollment's been reduced every year. And when you have the same facilities and in many cases the same staff, your costs do not go down. So the county has put in additional funds this year. The county is donating to the cause $2,638,516 for a total budget of $8,755,953. So we've worked very hard to use this money as best as possible, and it's one of the reasons we're also looking to the future and what kind of facilities and organization we need in the new environment. So we thank the supervisors for approving this budget, and we know that we'll be working with them throughout the year as various changes come in place. With that, now that they've approved it, we need a formal approval also. So if I could have a motion to approve the budget.
Make a motion to approve the budget.
I'll second.
Mr. Frederick?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. The next is, again, tied to funding, the consolidated title plan. Scott, you have any comments on that?
No, it's, Miss Beth Cochran and Laura's worked on this, so, the title plan basically mirrors, the one we had last year. There's not a whole lot of changes. So, I would recommend you accept it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the consolidated title plan.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Frederick?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Again, a funding issue, the Perkins local plan.
It's a mandatory plan that if we don't approve this, we don't get our money. That's about what it is, and it's a CTE plan. It helps with our CTE programs. It's a good plan. I think I looked through it. I don't see anything wrong with it, so I recommend you accept it.
Make the motion to approve the Perkins plan.
I'll second.
Mr. Frederick?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Next item on the action agenda is property management. We've looked at a variety of options as to how best to manage the facilities owned by Blaine County Public Schools in all facets, being general maintenance, custodial, snow removal, lawn care and maintenance of the various athletic fields, all of those type of things. We looked at it, doing it individually. We looked at hiring our own facilities manager and trying to flesh out an organization. And we also looked at hiring a property management firm. At the end of the day, because of the savings they get by combining functions, the property management bid came in as the most competitive bid. And we had 2 companies bid essentially the same scope, and the low bidder was JDM. And with that, it worked well with our budget. Things that we had to worry about in the past, maintenance supplies, janitorial supplies, even I'll say transportation for maintenance people, all those type of things, we won't have to worry about. And
We still have to worry about the supplies as far as custodial.
on the custodial, we have to take care of paper products and rugs.
Okay.
All other thing, all cleansers,
That's
strippers,
in this-
waxes,
That's
they
in
pay
this.
for it.
Okay. Okay.
And on the maintenance, we pay and we'll work to decide whether we set up accounts or just how it's done. But we pay for, you know, parts and supplies and of course things like pest control and those things
That's-
that we still
Right. We do that.
things that
separate.
they don't actually do that pass to us. But, you know, that gave us additional monies to work with, and it actually worked out very well. I mean, to give you an idea, janitorial supplies used to cost us, or budgeted at anyway, $47,000 just for the supplies.
Right.
And we're able to drop that to $20,000, so that's an additional $27,000 we pick up. So anyway, Mr. Mead, I think you need to comment on this one, with what you have on your plate.
Well, with what we have coming up, there's no way that I can do justice to any of this maintenance issues. Last year, I found myself in the middle of a lot of different things with maintenance. It took up a lot of my time. I will not have that luxury this coming school year. I need for someone to take completely in charge of this so I won't have to worry about it. I worry about it, but I just need to move in a different direction. And I would appreciate if you'd accept this JDM bid, because I think that'll take care of the needs that I have.
I just don't want us as a board coming to you to have you go, you know, if we're gonna give it to them. We need to know a central, you know, contact on their side that communicates with us weekly. We need to see some reports for our board meetings as to what they're doing and stuff. And when we do draw up a contract, we need to, you know, we need some escape clauses, I think we've discussed, and mutual, it needs to be a mutual escape clause, probably 90 days. And then as well, limit the contracts to 1 year, and then we can move forward if it's something that we like and it's worked well with us, for us. Maybe the next year we can move with a 2 or 3 year contract, but I think the first year I would recommend
Yeah,
a
I would
1 year
recommend
contract.
We do 1 year to see what happens. But
Yeah.
this fits perfectly in our budget right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the RFP for the property management.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Frederick?
4.
Ms. Puckett? Mr. Shepherd?
4. Next item, and this is a tough one, is a statement that we will be putting as part of the contracts because of the situation that the pandemic has put us in. And basically the fact that our funding is controlled by other sources, and if we don't have the funding, we're not in a position to pay personnel. So I'll read the statement, the furlough statement. In case schools are temporarily closed as a result of an epidemic, pandemic, state of emergency, natural disaster, or for other necessary cause, the school board unilaterally may require teleworking, may require such loss of time to be made up within the school term, may extend the school term, may alter assignment and our duties, or may implement furloughs or reduction in force.
And this is similar to what other systems are doing, correct?
Yes.
Right, we're in a time where we really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so we're hoping none of this does come into play, although we may have to do some working from home and teaching in a new environment, but you know, our heart's in the right place, and we'll try and be as flexible and as kind as possible.
This is added to their contract.
Yes, this will be language to be added.
There's something in there already.
Yeah, there's
Just
something there
about
that
it.
says if there's not any money available, that you won't get paid. It boils down to basic aid. We're getting our basic aid, it's fine, but what happens, get it in November and we do not get any basic aid or something, so this also protects our teachers too.
Right.
Yes, it protects the teachers.
That's very important.
We need to approve the 2020-2021 school year personnel list.
Do we need to
which is-
approve this?
Furlough statement, you gotta
Oh,
approve.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the furlough statement?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, we need to approve the personnel for the 2020-2021 school year, so that contracts can be sent out. And it is identified as List B. So if I could have a motion to approve List B of the personnel.
I'll make the motion to approve List B of the personnel.
I'll second.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, personnel. Mr. Mead, are you going to explain what we're approving here?
Yes, first of all, let's do the easy ones. I recommend that we approve the transfers that's listed on your packet for, the transfers of, for our school system, if you approve those first.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfers.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. We have a new hire.
We have a new hire for the art position at the high school. I recommend that you, take the person that we have listed in your packet as the, Miss Heather Bailey for the art position at the high school.
Make the motion to hire.
I'll second.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
I abstain.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. We have resignations.
You should have a list of the resignations in your packet. I recommend you accept those resignations.
I'll make the motion to accept the resignations.
I'll second.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. And we have retirements.
I
I'll make,
recommend you accept the retirements of the folks that are listed there in your packet.
sorry. I'll make the motion to accept the retirements.
Skipped R.
Can I add my name to the retirements? I like to retire. I'll second that.
I did that once.
Well, you did that once.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, we have winter athletic assignments.
Yes, sir. You should have listed the winter athletic assignments. Did we get those in the packet? Okay. I recommend you accept the winter athletic assignments as released by the school.
I'll make a motion to accept. Take the recommendation.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Academic assignments.
You should have those listed there in your packet as well. I recommend you accept those academic assignments.
Make a motion to accept the academic assignments.
Second.
Mr. Bradford?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Resignation.
We've already done that.
We just did
We
those.
did that.
We did that, okay.
You can go to B.
You're on work session.
I'm way ahead of myself.
We're almost to the end.
Okay. So we're at V, which was a request to have a working session before our next board meeting, which I think we very much need with, especially with the property management situation.
The school system is the largest government agency in the county. We need to make sure with all that we have undertaken, as well as all that has befall us at the moment, to make sure that we're serving our constituency as well as our students well. I'd propose that we have a work session until further notice to happen after our regular meeting of the month, to prepare even action items for the next meeting, or to conduct action or closed session meetings, whatever we need to do.
Just like on a separate day, right?
Yep, just on a separate day.
Yeah, just in like an additional brief meeting or
Yeah.
something. So
So are you suggesting we have like we have the second Tuesday of the month, that we pick a,
Yeah, just pick a different day and just kind of establish it, whether it's just for the short term until we can make sure everything is riding out as well as we'd hoped, or if it's more difficult, especially with these task force committees, we need to make sure that we're fulfilling any needs that they may have, and it may be more incumbent upon us to come together more often.
is this something that we would have to stream?
No, if up to 50 can attend, as long as we don't.
Yeah, I don't want to have you guys to be here another
but
day.
it is a
so-
public meeting that must
It is a
be
public
announced.
meeting, it
Yeah,
must be announced.
we'll announce it as a public meeting, but
Must have minutes.
yeah.
Well, my suggestion is this, we've got these task forces, which I think we have to be very serious about, because, how we're coming back to school, possibly even when we're coming back to school, is very critical. So, to me, I don't want to do anything that's going to take away from people to be able to put time in those, and those are going to have subcommittees. At the same time, June is, July 1st is the beginning of a new year. So we got to make sure that we can kick off this new year properly. So I think we definitely need another meeting before the end of this month.
Right.
Absolutely. Closeout meeting.
Yeah.
And the
Make it
question
toward the end of
is,
close to the end of the month.
yeah,
Would a Thursday be in mind?
I'm easy any day. So.
Or is
any
that
day
too close to
doesn't
the
bother me.
end and the beginning?
I think we need to get together sometime that week of the 22nd,
The last week of the month,
well, the last full week.
last full week, yeah.
I mean, we gotta have time to do some things if we come up with this has to be done before the end of the month.
Yes.
So we don't wanna be too close. Would Tuesday, the 23rd work for people?
Should.
What time?
About 6 in the morning?
Breakfast meeting?
Hey, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Can we just meet at Cracker Barrel?
We can
and-
do that, yeah.
They'll take care of the number of people that can come in. So
That's right.
They'll control that.
Don't mind if we do that. Okay, no, you guys give me a suggestion what time we can do.
You guys do it to suit you. I'm still good that
The
day.
task force meeting, let me ask you this question right fast. Next task force meetings, have you already thought those?
It'll be
It's-
next week sometime.
So,
Next week, so this will be after that.
those have been normally during the day. If we don't mind, I'd like to do this, if we're gonna do those during the day, and I can swing that, but if we're gonna do another one of these, if we can do it in the evening. Like I said, I don't foresee it being a long meeting like we normally do regular business, but something
Right.
other, an hour and a half, and just kind of discuss things, maybe even quicker than that, but,
What time of day is better for you?
I mean,
I'm talking for the task force meeting.
yeah, well, I mean, earlier the better, we could go into work late, or even if the afternoon, if you wanna do it later afternoon, 3 o'clock, get off early and come on, either which way,
5 in the morning.
5 in the morning is great.
That's what you say. No.
Absolutely
She's
not.
not a farmer.
No.
Yeah. She
uh,
says it's a summertime teacher is what I am.
So
I don't know, this meeting, you wanna do 5 o'clock, or does that work?
5's good.
Yeah,
That
I'm
way
good either way.
Gives
so
you time
just,
to get home for supper.
I still got time that week, so the next week maybe not.
That's right.
I hope not.
And that'll be after graduation, and we
Yeah. I'll go ahead and make a motion for that, for the meeting.
Second.
Four?
4.
4.
Okay, that's the end of our action agenda, so the only item we have left is to adjourn.
Make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
4.
4.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you joining in.